Sina khoi gi tao parihan mateng pangba chabada.
CNA, TDA, KNA, B and Kia. A new axis against Junta, aligned Indian insurgent groups. The frontier of northwestern Myanmar has entered a new and complex phase of war. The Chin National Army, CNA, the Thadu Defense Army, TDA, the Kuki National Army Burma, KNA, B, and the Kachin Independence Army, KIA, have deepened cooperation not only to resist the Myanmar junta, but also to counter the presence of Indian-based insurgent groups such as the Prepark Communist Party, KCP, People's Revolutionary Party of Pak, United National Liberation Front, UNLF, and the People's Liberation Army, PLA. These Maitai outfits, historically hostile to India and now operating as allies of the Myanmar military, have become the new adversaries for the combined ethnic resistance in Chin and Sagaing. This alignment has reshaped the conflict across Chin State and Sagaing region. The terrain that once witnessed fragmented battles is now the setting of a larger confrontation. Involving well-trained ethnic armies on one side and entrenched Indian-origin insurgent groups backed by the junta on the other. The outcome of this struggle will not only affect the survival of local communities, but also determine the security dynamics along the Indo-Myanmar border for years to come. The rise of the combined ethnic forces. The CNA, TDA, KNAB, and KI do not represent random militias. They are organized movements with political roots and clear territorial bases. Each brings a unique capacity to the battlefield. The CNA, long established as the armed wing of the Chin National Front, has years of combat experience in protecting Chin interests. Its cadres have resisted multiple military campaigns and built up a tradition of disciplined resistance. The TDA, though younger and smaller, is deeply rooted in the Thadu community, acting as a shield for vulnerable villages in Chin Hills. The KNAB has grown rapidly, reaching over 600 fighters, with 400 to 600 of them having undergone formal military training in Kachin State under the guidance of seasoned instructors. The KIA, one of Myanmar's most formidable ethnic forces, adds both operational expertise and strategic weight to this alliance. Together, they now form a powerful axis capable of mounting coordinated operations. This is not just a battlefield alignment, but also a political statement. By linking their efforts, these groups send a message that the borderlands will not be surrendered either to the junta or to Indian insurgent groups acting as its proxy forces. Indian insurgent groups and their junta alignment. The Indian-based insurgent groups KCP, Prepark, UNLF and PLA have a long history of operating from Myanmar's border areas. Originally established with the goal of liberating Manipur from Indian rule, they found sanctuary across the frontier, where they trained, recruited and launched attacks into Indian territory. Over the years, the Myanmar military regime recognized their utility as allies against local ethnic resistance. By allowing these groups to set up camps in Sagaing and Chin, the junta not only secured additional manpower, but also created a buffer against ethnic organizations that refused to surrender. In exchange, the Indian insurgents gained protection, supplies and operational space. This marriage of convenience has now transformed into active collaboration. In several clashes since 2024, CNA, KNAB and TDA units have reported encountering joint patrols of junta troops and Maitai insurgent groups. Battles along the border. The cooperation of CNA, TDA, KNAB and KIA has already been tested in intense border battles. One of the most contested areas has been the stretch around border pillars 85 to 87 near Mora, where KNAB fighters have clashed repeatedly with Maitai insurgents supported by junta units. These confrontations have been deadly, with more than 30 KNAB fighters killed over the past year and an unknown number of casualties among their rivals. The battles are not mere exchanges of gunfire. Drone warfare, ambush tactics and coordinated strikes are increasingly common. KNAB units have deployed drones adapted for dropping explosives, while CNA cadres have used classic guerrilla methods to disrupt supply lines. TDA fighters, though smaller in number, have acted as flanking forces, protecting vulnerable villages and ensuring that communities are not overrun during major offensives. The KIA's presence has been decisive in training and planning, ensuring that ethnic forces can hold ground against better armed opponents. Strategic depth and secured territories. The combined ethnic forces have carved out secured zones in both Chin and Sagaing. The CNA maintains firm influence across several townships in Chin, while the KNAB has built entrenched bases in Tonzang and along key Sagaing routes, including Hakamti, Homelin and Tamu. The TDA secures Thadu-dominated villages, ensuring that the civilian population remains under their protection. The KIA, with its logistical networks and experienced fighters, provides reinforcement when required, particularly in joint assaults against fortified junta positions. This territorial hold is critical. It not only provides safe havens for fighters and civilians, but also serves as launch pads for cross-regional operations. From these bases, ethnic forces can strike at junta convoys, ambush Mai Tai insurgents, and disrupt communication routes connecting Indian insurgent camps to Myanmar military outposts. The human dimension of the conflict. The presence of Indian insurgents allied with the junta has added a brutal dimension to civilian life along the frontier. Villages once caught between junta forces and local PDFs now find themselves facing cross-border threats as well. Reports suggest that some Kuki and Thadu communities in Sagaing have faced harassment or displacement due to incursions by Mai Tai fighters aligned with the junta. For these communities, the CNA, TDA and KNAB are not abstract organizations, but lifelines of defense. Their patrols deter raids, their checkpoints regulate movements, and their resistance offers a sense of security in an otherwise lawless landscape. The human terrain, therefore, becomes as crucial as the military one. Local support fuels the survival of these ethnic forces, just as their presence safeguards local populations. The evolution of tactics and training. Training has become the defining factor in this new phase of the conflict. KNAB's investment in sending hundreds of fighters to Kachin State for formal instruction has created a cadre of disciplined soldiers rather than irregular militias. These fighters return with knowledge of small unit tactics, coordinated assaults, jungle survival, and drone operations. The CNA has also benefited from KIA training, ensuring that its units are capable of handling modern battlefield challenges. The TDA, while less resourced, has integrated into this learning ecosystem by engaging in joint exercises and operations with its allies. The result is a network of fighters who are more skilled, better coordinated, and increasingly capable of challenging both the junta and its Mai Tai partners. Implications for India. The involvement of Indian insurgent groups in Myanmar's conflict inevitably has implications for India. On one level, the CNA, TDA and KNAB's clashes with these outfits indirectly weaken them, which may serve India's long-term security interests. On another level, however, the continued militarization of the Indo-Myanmar frontier risks destabilizing already fragile districts in Manipur and Mizoram. India finds itself in a paradox. While it opposes Mai Tai insurgents, it remains wary of the rise of armed Kuki Thadu groups across the border. The possibility of cross-border operations, refugee flows, and unintended escalations cannot be ruled out. In this sense, the combined ethnic forces and their confrontation with Mai Tai outfits create a complex security dilemma for New Delhi. The road ahead. The conflict in Chin and Sagaing is far from resolution. With CNA, TDA, KNAB and KIA consolidating their cooperation, the ethnic resistance has gained new confidence. Their numbers, training and territorial control suggest that they will remain a formidable presence for years to come. At the same time, the entrenched presence of Indian insurgent groups allied with the junta ensures that battles will intensify rather than decline. The use of advanced tactics, the integration of drones, and the adaptability of ethnic forces mark a new chapter in the border war. This is no longer a fight of poorly armed villagers against state troops. It is a structured conflict between organized ethnic armies and proxy groups supported by a military regime determined to retain control. Conclusion: the alliance of CNA, TDA, KNAB and KIA represents one of the most significant developments in Myanmar's resistance war. Their combined strength challenges both the junta and its Indian insurgent allies, reshaping the power balance across Chin and Sagaing. For local communities, their presence provides protection and a sense of defiance. For the junta, it presents a stubborn obstacle to territorial domination. For India, it creates both an opportunity to see its insurgent adversaries weakened and a risk of wider instability. The outcome of this confrontation remains uncertain, but one fact is clear: the ethnic resistance in northwestern Myanmar has entered a new stage of organization and coordination. The battles to come will define not only the future of Chin and Sagaing, but also the delicate security fabric of the Indo-Myanmar frontier. Disclaimer from Zalangam Media. This article is prepared for informational and analytical purposes only, based on available open source reports. Zalangam Media does not support, endorse, or promote any armed group or their activities.